Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Hard Choice. Simple steps for showing up. My name is Brad Draper, and it is an honor to be with you. I have so much to share. I am fired up, and I've been pondering about this topic for quite some time. I have taken a few notes. I've been thinking, and as these thoughts have come to mind, I wrote them down because they were so important. How often do you write down these thoughts that come to mind? Especially the ones that come to mind when you randomly wake up in the middle of the night. Do you have a pen and paper or your phone, which that one's not so good because it turns the light on right and it wakes you up. However, I have my phone by me. I should probably get pen and paper. I've used that and I've got some really funny entries from previous times, being mostly asleep, writing down thoughts. They're not usually very coherent. However, I digress. Today, at the day of recording, this is actually Halloween. I know I'm way ahead of schedule on purpose, right? Preparation, because the time to perform, or when it is the time to perform, the time for preparation has long passed. Preparing. And I'm full of energy, full of excitement, and ready to rock. I had this experience this last weekend that I want to throw back at you. I took a red-eye flight Thursday night to Nashville. All is well, fantastic event. And the event that day on Friday was gorgeous. It was amazing. My friend that put it on did such a phenomenal job. I loved everything that he did, and there were definitely some things to be learned. This was his first event, though you would never know it. And I gave my testimonial, and I talked to him about things to be learned. And then I left that event for yet another red-eye flight into Saturday because I was speaking at TEDx. If you haven't heard that talk, shameless plug, go to the TEDx platform and check it out because it's awesome. But I left for my flight at 5:55 p.m. for my 7:38 flight. On my way, my delay went to 7:53. And then while I was there, it went to 8:08. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh man, I only had a 50-minute window in my layover in Texas. And my window went from 50 minutes to 30 minutes to 20 minutes to 4 minutes. And we boarded the plane super late, about 8:30 p.m. And I talked to the airline attendant and told them my situation. They said, oh, you'll be fine, no worries. And as we were sitting on this plane, the electronics or the avionics started glitching and were not passing safety. Well, 2 hours later, still sitting on the plane at the gate, we finally left around 10-something p.m. I was supposed to take off from Texas to Salt Lake at 10:34 in the same time zone. So we left about 20 minutes before my flight was supposed to leave, and it was a 2.5-hour flight. I landed in Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, at 12:08 a.m. in the morning, having missed my flight that was supposed to be 10:34. And as I landed, I saw that my flight was being delayed in lockstep with my travels. There was massive storms in Texas, which caused the initial delay. So the avionics messing up and glitching were not in connection with the storms in Texas, but they were still in lockstep. On my way to the gate, having saw that now my flight is at 1:30 in the morning, I thought, awesome, sweet. This came perfect in lockstep. Everything happens for you, not to you. This is phenomenal. On my way there, I saw a massive line at the gate, and I thought, oh, dang, they're already boarding the plane. This is awesome. I realized very quickly that line did not go to the gate. It went to the computer where the worker was working, or the flight attendant was working. And I look at the screen, and the delay updated from 1:30 a.m. to 6 a.m. Keep in mind, I had to leave at 9 a.m. to be on time for TEDx. And I see people freaking out. Unbelievable just chaos. People calling, wigging out, because they'd missed their flight to go home. They weren't missing anything else, and that's not to say that missing your flight home is not a big deal. For some people it is. But they weren't missing a grand event. As I sat there, I recognized that I was actually really calm, internally calm, not faking it. I knew everything was exactly as it should be. And so, what did I do? I laid down on the terminal floor and went to sleep. What else can you do? It's midnight at a gate where I have nowhere to go, nowhere to be until 6 a.m. You might as well get as much rest as you can. The terminal was freezing, so every time I went to sleep, I went straight to REM sleep and wake up about every hour and have to shift my body from laying on the ground. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, slept about 4 hours, rehearsed my TEDx talk and thought, how is this happening for me and not to me? Give me the eyes to see and understand. And because I asked the question, I received the download very quickly. I realized that if that flight had taken off at 1:30, I would have gotten home at about 4 a.m. My brain is wired to wake up at 5 a.m. when I'm in my bed. I would have got great sleep for about an hour and then terrible sleep from then on out because of just how my circadian rhythm is when I'm at home in my bed. So would have gotten 2 hours on the flight, 1 hour in my bed, and that would have been pretty much it. I got more sleep, more resourceful, recoverative sleep because I slept at the terminal. Wasn't the best sleep, but every time I fell asleep, I was deep because I was exhausted from the previous red eye the night before, having been living on 3 hours of sleep. And then it dawned on me while I was rehearsing my talk in the terminal, my nerves were pretty wiry. They were pretty fiery, which caused my emotional state to be very surface level. I was responding emotionally to my talk more so than I had in the past. And I realized my delivery on stage will be so much more impactful because of the emotion. And I said, I see you, God. I see you working in my life. After all, for those that go see my TEDx talk, this entire situation embodied what my talk was about, which is adding little bits of stress and little bits of chaos to your life with intention every day. And in doing so, you become accustomed to stress and chaos. So when life hits you in the face, you can handle it with grace. I was literally living this. I was embodying this while at the terminal in Fort Worth, Texas. How cool is that? What a journal entry. Oh my goodness. I'm going to take you back a few weeks. I was having a conversation with a friend and relaying a very wild scenario. I said, man, that's just so crazy. That's so wild. That's just crazy. Can you relate? Have you said that before? That something's crazy? And this friend of mine, I love him. In the middle of me talking, he said, why do you do that? And that caused me to pause, right? I said, do what? What did I do? He said, I was in rhythm with you. I was feeling it. I was loving the energy that you're giving. And then you said it was crazy. And that just negated everything you just said. Why do you do that? Why do you call something crazy? It's not crazy. It's your life and it's beautiful. Have you thought about the words that you use and what they do to your mind? How they influence you? I mean, saying something is crazy is so common in our world today. I would bet you use that same verbiage. I no longer use that verbiage. I'm actually going to pull my phone up. The definition of crazy, when you look this sucker up, mentally deranged, extremely annoyed or angry, foolish, appearing absurd or out of place in an unlikely position, full of cracks or flaws. And then there's one that could be deemed potentially resourceful, extremely enthusiastic. Well, that's a lot of unresourceful definitions of the word crazy that is used in common terminology today. You may utilize it as the adverb of extremely enthusiastic, but what is your unconscious absorbing? Because after all, the definitions of crazy would be in, like I said before, lockstep with an insane asylum, with somebody that has gone mentally deranged, unresourceful. Is your life unresourceful, mentally deranged, foolish, annoyed, with flaws and cracks? Or is it something of beauty? Is it something of wonder, amazement, love, compassion, joy? You see, my experience this last weekend, I had so many people tell me, man, you had a crazy weekend. No, I did not. My weekend was not crazy. My weekend was orchestrated. My weekend was full of love and joy and bliss by the perfect seamstress. You see, this thread was sewn perfectly through the needle to make a beautiful piece of art. Where is your focus? And with that focus, what are you finding in life? Change your words. Change the verbiage. It does more than you realize. Your words have meaning. They have power. That's why it's called spelling. They are casting spells in your mind. Your unconscious, it absorbs everything and takes everything personally. If you speak of somebody else in an unresourceful fashion, your unconscious receives it just the same. Be aware of the words you use. Be aware of the energy that you have. If you're constantly finding unresourceful states, hardship after hardship, is that where your focus is? Even unintentionally? How about you change your words up? Use ones that actually bring you resources, that actually help you. And in doing so, magic, beauty, wonder. How about you use those words from now on? Instead of saying something's crazy. And yes, I will admit, at first it was a challenge. I almost said that's crazy so many times. My wife will say, man, that's crazy. I said, it's not crazy, it's beautiful. And she'd quickly correct herself. Guess what word is not used very often, ever, in our house? Crazy. We're all safe and healthy. We are all beautiful, wonderful, joyful, blissful, of abundance, of ecstasy. That is what I have for you today. How are your words serving you? How are you serving yourself? What is the conversation happening in your mind? It is that conversation that yields the direction you go. After all, humans naturally gravitate towards where they focus. Where is your focus? What actions are you utilizing to open opportunities? The opportunities come from the action. That's how you grow. That's how you move forward. Use the right words, take action, and have proper focus. Thank you for listening to this episode. I've been stoked to record it, and I've been out of town. It has been such a beautifully orchestrated turn of events that worked perfectly for me. And I saw it as it was happening. This is not hindsight 2020. I saw this as it was occurring because I was paying attention. I was asking the questions. After all, the person asking the questions is the person in control. Think about that one for a minute. Continue to have this conversation with your friends, your family, your loved ones, with me. Leave me a review on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, wherever you listen to this thing. Download it, like it, subscribe to it for future listenings. Until next week, I love you guys. Bye.